Hello, everybody. Welcome to the I'm Angry podcast. You're on with Mike. Next to me is Matt.
What's up?
Over there is Johnny.
Yo, yo.
And across the table is the other Mike.
Hello.
Today, we're going to get into something a little bit heavier than normal, or normal recently, I should say. I'm going to talk about a couple things relating to criminal justice reform. You want to get it started?
Also known as soft on crime policies, potentially. I don't know. Conceptually, maybe.
Ding, ding, ding.
Well, we're going to have to jump right into it. I think the one of the ones is that, if you can call this soft on crime or whatever, criminal justice reform that I at least know about a bit is a no cash bail, and how getting rid of it has caused a bit of, would you say, recidivism, I think, amongst, criminals. But I think the idea behind it makes sense and holds water, at least for what it's trying to do by getting rid of cash bail. Do you have any? What do you think about that one particularly?
Well, just tell me what the no cash bail policies are. What crimes that it relate to?
So no cash bail is for nonviolent felonies and misdemeanors. It just means that if, I don't know, hypothetically, if you were shoplifting, right, but it was a large sum of money you would get arrested for.
I did take a piece of gum once.
Well, no, like over 1,000.
I took a piece of, what was it was in like a yellow and red wrapper, just a little round piece of
Hubba
bubble
bubba.
gum.
Hubba bubba?
It was so loose. I
No,
took
Hubba
one from
Bubba.
Myers once. Myers candy store.
Wow, they're going to come after you.
Well,
So-
certain crimes or I think a nonviolent felony would be prostitution, right? So if you got caught for that, you would be
If I got caught for prostitution, okay. good.
soliciting, right?
That was a great crime to come up with for me.
Well, you seem to make a joke out of
My prostitution days are
the
over.
other ones.
Yeah.
So when's the last time you were a prostitute,
When's the last time?
That's maybe in Las Vegas. I don't know.
No, but the idea
don't
would be
remember a lot.
that you're arrested while you're awaiting sentencing, right? You can post bail and get out, so you're not sitting in jail while you're, in our belief in our justice system, that you are innocent, right? Like innocent until proven guilty, or conviction. Sorry, not sentencing, whatever. But for that period of time, you can get out. No cash bail means there's no money value. You don't have to pay $5,000.
And the theory behind it is because some people can't afford the bail, so they get
Right.
stuck
Right.
on a minor crime, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. That seems perfectly fair to me.
We're off to a good start.
What I would
I'm shocked.
Well, I think no.
what I would ask, being that you know something about the topic, is what if someone gets out and commits another crime? Is it automatically then they have bail applied?
Well,
or
that's
is
a
it
crime
still
on top of it.
Meaning?
but
Committing, like,
but
it
they-
just being your second offense, isn't that also a crime in of itself?
I don't know. That's my question. I mean, I got caught for prostitution, right? As you said,
Okay.
I can't.
Is it your first time?
I'm low income, so I can't afford bail. So they say, okay, you could be released. I guess on your own reconnaissance, we'll see you in 3 weeks, a month, whatever it is, right? That's the theory behind it. While I'm waiting that case to come up, I commit another crime, another misdemeanor. Am I automatically held on with bail, I guess? Or do I still,
Probably not.
does that law still apply to me? So I could get out again and
I'd
commit a
imagine-
third crime and
I'd
continue to
imagine
do
it
that?
stays the same. I don't know what the
Sure.
rule is if you're arrested in the period in which you posted bail for. If there's a special set of rules applied to you now for this second crime.
So I mean, that would
that
be
you'd
my
be
only
arrested
problem with it.
for.
Like I get it. Some people commit a crime, in the moment. Somebody might do something. Maybe prostitution isn't one of those. But somebody might shoplift something because they have a need for that thing, right?
Mhm.
And they get caught, and it's like, okay, we let you out, right? You robbed the toaster because you really needed toast, right?
Right.
I'm just saying, if there's a second crime committed or a third crime committed, does that no bail law then not apply to you anymore? Because that's what I think would be fair about that.
I doubt it. I just think laws generally aren't. They're like unilaterally sort of applied as like you cannot have bail for a crime. It'd be. I mean, it could be. I don't know.
So
I don't
then,
know.
in that case,
In
I
the-
don't see, like, then why? So for the single offense,
Mhm.
fine. And that person never, besides that offense, that person never does anything again. Okay, I could see it for that purpose, right? Because you saved one person the whatever the angst of not being able to get out because they did something in the moment. It wasn't really a terrible crime, obviously. But if you're a continual repeat offender, I think that
Yeah.
should be rescinded for you.
Okay. I mean, I would agree with like I don't have any issues with that. I don't necessarily think that getting rid of cash bail altogether is the right way. I just think it needs to be a bit more specific to the person and the crime. I think if you were to look it up, like I'm sure I mean, it's been the reason why there's a big issue like with the bail system is because it's been, I don't know if it's been lobbied necessarily, but I'm pretty sure there are companies that even collect a portion of it. It really should be a deposit just to get back, like to get out. You're like, hey, I'm innocent right now until I am convicted. I shouldn't be sitting in jail for 3 weeks of innocence.
But there are
it's a
people
deposit.
that post
Don't you get it
bail
back?
or bond. As
No, you do. I'm just saying that
No, but
they
they're-
can make it higher than it should be.
Right.
Even like for us, we might say, well, if it was, let's say the average rate was like 5,000. In a pinch, if I was like, I didn't do this, I need to get out of jail. I could come together. I could get 5,000 together.
Right.
A lot of people couldn't.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get 100,000 together. A lot of other people could.
Right.
So if they make it 100,000 for me, I would see that just as unfairly as somebody like a low income, under the poverty line kind of thing, and they're asking for 10.
Mhm.
I personally see that as just as unfair. Like just because I'm more middle class, I still have a limit. It's the same like kind of a side note, but just the idea of like this fairness, or like I think it's called equity now, which is like not just fairness, but how it actually affects everybody differently.
Right.
It'd be like with school, like colleges is like if you're rich, you can afford college.
Mm.
If you're really low income, there's more it's not easy. I'm not saying that, but there's more grants. What's it called? Aid, financial
Financial
aid.
aid.
There's other options. Whereas like if you're just kind of normal to lower middle class, you make enough money that they don't give you anything, but you don't make enough money that you're just paying for college. Like you're
Right.
like here's $40,000 a year.
But go
So
back
it's the
to
same
the,
issue
but go
where
back,
you run into a place where you're like, it needs to be. It shouldn't just be get rid of it. I think.
but go back
get
to the
rid of
bail thing, right? There are companies that post bail for people, right?
Yeah,
Right.
that's
And
what
there must be some
like
criteria.
loan
Dog
companies.
the bounty hunter.
Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
and if you don't appear or whatever, they track you down,
Of
right?
course.
And
Right.
but they get money, right? Back.
I'm sure. I bet they
They
charge
get
you with
the money
interest.
back.
It's probably like
I
a
was-
loan
I was
thing.
gonna say.
They're probably
But is that like
banks aren't going to give loans.
so? What if
to,
they never catch that person, right?
They lose the money.
They lose the money completely.
Yeah,
That's
state,
fact.
state keeps
Yeah.
the money. Yeah.
That's why they.
like if
the
somebody
bounty
jumps
hunters.
bail and then never shows up ever?
Yeah, then they're done. Right?
Yeah, but
They-
that
they
person's
lo-
like a
they
fugitive.
Lose that money.
Yeah,
Right?
that's why
Right.
they have bounty hunters.
That's why bounty hunters. Yeah.
That person's like a fugitive. I mean, that's been since. That's not even has nothing to do with.
And
the
what do they?
getting rid
But
of
they
cash
base
bail.
that on what? Like when they bail somebody out, what do they base? Because I'm not a criminal.
Who, the
like
bounty
you guys.
hunters?
No. Well, no.
Like the
bail
bail
bonds?
The bail bonds people. Like that's based on the person
I
being
imagine.
able to collateralize.
Well,
that
they
stuff,
they get
like-
collateral from. They
Yeah.
have to like if
So people
say-
with no collateral have no shot
Right.
at getting that bail.
That's why
Right,
they
right.
want to get
Exactly.
rid of
Well,
it.
no,
yeah.
because
So
then you
that's
can
why-
also have like you can put your house on the line for me, which
Yeah, like
wouldn't
you
do.
could post
I
his
would do it.
bail.
Yeah, you
you
can post
own a
my
house.
bail.
I wouldn't do that.
Thanks. Wow.
If you own
Goodfellas.
a house, though.
He doesn't
Karen's
own it.
mom
No,
posted the
before
house
you
to
commit
get
a
Henry
crime,
out.
Oh no, but you can have someone
That's
do it
right.
for somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Before
But
you
if
commit
you
a
know
crime,
somebody
Johnny,
owns the
sign
house.
your
Well,
house
yeah.
over to me, and then I'll post your house as bail.
Before I
be
become a criminal,
Before you
sign,
do something bad, just
sign my
your
house over to you. That's all
I think the
that's all I'm
cash bail
thinking.
thing is, it has a good. It comes from a good place, like a well-meaning place.
It's, just a, it's
but
a
I
hard
think
thing
it
to do.
becomes. It's a hard thing
It's a
to
hard
do.
thing to do.
And I think I
But most
completely
policies
understand.
come from a good place, but they're always like
Right.
the simple concept of if this person repeat offends, right? They should that should not apply to
Well,
them anymore.
I know. I
wanna-
agree.
Right? Like that's a simple
I agree. I
concept.
just
fair.
mean I think they don't put enough thought into it
I wanna-
because it comes from a well-meaning place. It's like just a blanket
Right,
fix
right.
because it sounds nice. Whereas instead of saying this is an issue, we agree we need to fix the bail system, but there's other ways to do it.
Right.
Like I would say, I think the fact that loan companies exist for bail shouldn't be like you shouldn't be in a situation where you need to put your house up or whatever. Unless if it's
Yeah.
like I don't that they didn't get rid of cash bail for violent felonies. I don't know if there is. I think that's still like you can have bail,
Right.
if I know correctly. Like you can be denied it, but
But you could.
you can
You
commit
can-
murder and still get out on
And
bail
still get on bail.
while
I-
the
no, I get
trial's
that,
going
yep.
on.
But that right.
But that I would understand. Put your house up. Like for if it was me,
Because the
and
money
like,
goes
it
up
is going to be
substantially
100,000
depending on the crime and
because
the person.
the person's
right?
more likely to run, and that's because if it's a felony,
Right.
you might be going away for 25 years versus I don't know 8 months, a year, whatever. Like still bad, but more of a reason to run.
Matt
you know?
wanted to make a
Well,
point.
I just wanted to make just to say about the repeat. I couldn't find anything specifically on it, but if you are out on bail, like you had paid bail, and you commit another crime, your bail can be rescinded. So I assume they.
So you can just go
followed-
back to prison
I
immediately.
assume they follow that guideline.
How though?
for-
Because if the
So
rule
I
is
assume when they
you
let you
posted
out on
bail-
no,
no, not posting.
I
you're saying.
assume
No,
when
no,
they,
no.
no. I'm saying if you posted bail and you committed a crime, they keep it, right? So they rescind it and you,
Right.
you're on. So I'm gonna assume they keep that same, meaning that when they let you out on no cash bail,
They still have
they're
a
letting-
time before
they're
you're
letting you out on a $0 bail. If you commit a crime, that bail is rescinded and you're in prison.
That's your
that,
assumption.
I'm just I couldn't find any specific information on it.
I think
Michael is right.
That would make
the,
sense.
the law is usually lateral. They usually follow it the
like
same
yeah.
way.
Usually laws are just
And
applied
so
that it wouldn't.
the way to apply that the same way, the rescinding of bail, in my opinion, is if you commit a second crime, then your $0 bail is
Rescinded and you
is
go to
rescinded
prison.
and you go to prison.
That would make sense.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I
That
mean,
way-
it
so
would
I
make
just want
sense,
to be.
but
I
we
just
don't
want to
really
be
know
fair.
what
I just
the-
want to be fair and
what the
just say
rule
that
is.
it is quite possible that.
Matt's
guess.
assuming it's like a $0 bail.
I'm
and-
just
and then-
saying.
Well, you still have a day. You still have a court
but
date.
I do hear.
But if you have
of-
no cash bail, you still have a
I
court
get
date.
that, but and that's fine. But by the time you're out and you go for that court date, even if you're an honest criminal and go for that court date, you could have committed another crime. And my question is, are you held at that point or you're not? And we don't really know
If
the
they
answer to
caught
that
you.
question.
I guess.
But I'm
yeah,
just
I
saying,
guess.
you-
No, you
Other
get
than-
caught for the second crime.
I-
It's not a crime unless you get caught, right?
Well, right. You just said if you did it and you went to the date, at which
So-
time.
Well, I'm just saying. I bring it up only because you were speaking. You were speaking as if your assumption was that they do not give you bail.
No,
matter
you're
how many.
assuming. You're assuming. I'm asking
I'm
the
just
question.
Saying, no, you.
if anybody
you
knew
just said
how
it
it
before.
works.
When I first was going to say this, you had said it before in a way that like made it seem like this was your one problem with it. I want to let you know this might not be a problem at all. Like you
But
know,
we don't
the,
know.
the way
That-
that,
that's
it
the-
seems the
I
law
didn't
will
say-
follow.
Yes, I think it would be a problem if that was
Yeah.
what happening. And my understanding, or at least from what I hear, is that there are people out there that do commit multiple crimes, right? And I don't know
There are people who commit multiple crimes.
multiple crimes and get out on zero bail. Wouldn't And I think is wrong. So I mean, we could certainly look into that, but that would be my problem with that.
Yeah.
I have no
mean, don't
problem
think that's-
conceptually with the zero case. Like I said, low level crime, single offense, no problem. But if you're going to keep getting in and out on it, then it doesn't make sense. And I don't know how it's written, but
Mhm.
that's
Yeah.
my issue with that.
I mean, I think that's reasonable. Like as far as second, repeat offenders in that way. I think it makes. I just think I really don't even agree with the no cash bail. Like I said, I just think it should be more. I think you have to be more specific, and you have to look at
It's just a hard
individual
thing to
people. I
pinpoint.
mean, there's like what do they say. I mean, I only watch like, I watch a good bit of cop shows, but like flight risks and stuff. Like there's different situations, but that
Yeah.
require different things as far as bail or being in or just having to be in
Well,
prison,
what
whatever
I-
it is.
What I did see during my research, they do let people out on no cash bail, but some of them are have like electronic surveillance. So some of them, I guess, they give them a
That's like probation.
yeah. I guess
Right,
some
like
of them they
doesn't-
give
isn't
them an
that-
ankle bracelet. Something
For a single offense,
for no cash bail.
non-violent
Yeah,
crime.
it said it depends on the court, but some
and they
people
automatically track these people? I mean,
sometimes,
I
not
mean,
all the
listen,
time.
I don't know. I would need more details. I'm sorry. It doesn't sound right to me.
That's just what it
Because
says.
that goes against what they're trying to do too, in a way, right? Like,
I don't know.
Well, no, because it doesn't really. Because what they used to do with bail was make sure that you showed up for your court date, so that you got your money back. Now that you don't have anything on the line, so they just watch you to make sure you show up for your court date.
It was a deposit, so you got the money back.
Yeah.
If you posted bail, but
used
you
to
had to
be-
show up
No,
to
I
all
under-
your court dates.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't know. I think we're talking about criminals. So the single offense thing is one thing, but I don't know. We don't. I guess we just don't know enough about it. Like we should just look into it a little further. But
I feel like that's going to come up a lot, right? I have a feeling, huh?
no, I
What else
just
you want to look more into?
I'm asking questions.
It's on the verge.
I know.
these
He
are-
was
He
doing this all
wants
the
to
time.
say it so
But this was the
bad.
beginning thing.
But these are good questions to ask. No,
So
Great
close
question.
to jump doing it. Stop. He's holding back so hard.
No, I'm not. No, I'm fine.
He's gonna pop.
It's so absurd. It's ridiculous.
Listen, I don't disagree with the no cash bail.
That's good.
Well, we're off to a good start, I guess.
Everybody got another one?
Nobody's angry about it.
Everybody else do their research? Dad? Other mic over there?
There's
some
no research
research.
to do. This all comes from here.
You got another one then?
I don't know. We talked about stuff in the beginning.
We talked about stuff in there.
We talked about stuff in the beginning.
Prisoners voting. We talked about a little bit.
Well, that was we weren't
wanna-
recording
wanna
at
talk
that
about
point.
that.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about stuff before we came on. I guess
Yeah.
I should say.
Before
I think it shouldn't be a question. Any criminal who's done their time, like ex-cons, I think all of them should be able to vote across the board.
I
If you
agree.
did your
Probation
time,
or not. You did your time, you got out.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
You
don't
should get-
I
you
don't
should get-
understand
all your rights back.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as far as like probation,
Yeah, no, I agree with
limiting
that.
some rights, okay, right? Like I don't know. As far as saying like all your rights back, I don't know exactly what they wouldn't have. You know, in certain instances, like if somebody gets out and they still have to be,
Well, you can't own a
they have to
gun.
check in and they, no drugs, all that. I mean, I guess
Well-
drugs isn't a right,
Well,
but
that's
you know
not
what
that's
I mean.
not taking your right away.
I'm
That's
saying I
putting
don't
a
know-
condition on you, but that's not
Yes.
taking any of your
Then
rights
yes,
away.
I think they should
Right,
definitely
right.
have. If you do your time,
Mm-hmm.
no matter what the crime is, if you do your time and you did it the right way and you're out,
You
I
should-
don't.
you should have your
I
rights back.
can't understand
Why you don't have your rights?
why you wouldn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
in that regard. You know what I mean? And then I think in prison, I'm not sure if this is. I think this is like a state by state about whether active prisoners can vote, and especially in the last couple of years, I think there's been a push for it. I think it should be. Matt actually mentioned this before. I thought it was a really good idea that I hadn't thought of. It should just be a part of sentencing
Yeah, they sentence you
for each.
to
I mean, they
decide.
already do. I don't know how hard it would be to include in that for a judge. Do you think this person is, has like their mental faculties and isn't so, I don't know, morally corrupt, I guess, as to be a poor voter? Or not poor voter. Like you can't decide that somebody's a bad
I don't-
voter.
I don't
Because there's
think-
a lot of bad voters out there. But I mean, like, I don't know. I could imagine like if Ted Bundy would be like, whatever he has to say about politics, I don't care about. I don't want whoever he's going to vote into president. I don't want. You know what I mean? But there's other people who just do.
Sorry.
There's a million crimes you could commit that isn't like, yeah, this guy shouldn't vote. It's like, well, yeah, you did this.
I
All
fog,
right.
I
Like,
fogged over for a minute, but did you say?
Ted Bundy. Yeah.
No, I thought
I did say Ted Bundy, just as an example.
No, but did you say that your mental capacity should be part of whether or not
not capacity. I meant like
your mental state?
mental state.
I guess the only thing I would say about that is like you don't know the mental state of most people.
Mm.
Like I don't think Matt should vote
Right.
based on his mental state.
I don't
Yes.
vote.
Right? But we don't use that as a criteria. So I mean, strictly
even-
by the rules.
By mental state, I meant in the situation of when you have, if it's a criminal who's going into prison, right? Like, okay, we don't test people every day, citizens for their ability to vote based on like if they're smart enough or
Right.
or this or that or morally, not corrupt, like they're good people. We don't do that, and we shouldn't at all, right?
Right.
What I mean is, if you're in a situation where you were to be taking voting rights away from a person, right? Like if that's the standard, then it makes sense to me that you can put in the effort to see if they should have the ability to vote. You know what I mean? Like normal people, as a right, have the assumption that you can vote. But when you're about to take away that right, then I think it's reasonable to look at why, like, does that make sense in this situation? I said like Ted Bundy just because like first serial
No,
killer. I
no,
thought
but
of-
I'm saying, generally speaking, you're saying that, okay, so let's just go through the cycle. Somebody is in jail for 30 years. They do their time straight through. They get released, fully released. You think that their mental state should be part of the analysis of whether or not they get that right back to vote?
no.
No, they
Okay,
should be
they
allowed
get
to
the
vote.
right back to vote. I agree.
100%.
100%. They get it back.
I guess
when,
what I mean.
when,
look,
when are you looking at the mental capacity thing? That's what got
not
That's
capacity.
what I got caught up.
Not
on.
mental
Well,
capacity.
I'm using the wrong word, but
You're talking about during prison.
during prison. In
Right.
prison.
Well, during
Not
sentence.
mental capacity. What I'm trying to say is like there are people in prison, right? Like
Oh, okay. So
Who
while
are-
you're in prison, that some people should have the right to vote.
yeah,
and
yes.
some should.
Yeah, you want
Okay.
us to rewind the podcast?
No. Sir, I told you. I said I let in when I fogged
Rewind.
over
Yes.
for a minute. I'm
People in
sorry.
prison.
I was
Yes.
trying to understand what
They-
you were
while they're
saying.
in.
I don't.
And Matt said before, and I agree. I think the ability to vote while you're in for your sentence should be included in the sentencing part of
Cognitive ability should
No.
be part of what.
No,
No,
no.
it's not. It's just.
Is he
whether-
messing with me?
No, I just wanted
Is
to
he
throw.
kidding
I
around?
just wanted
Did you
to throw.
two have like a problem
I
the
just-
other
I
night?
don't-
'Cause
he's
you
I
guys-
really,
you
literally
guys are
just
butting
wanted to
heads
throw
hard
cognitive
today.
ability in there. That's why.
I feel you guys are
No,
gonna throw
that-
down.
No, I just wanted to throw cognitive ability.
Why?
It's
Because
just-
I'm not going to tell you why yet. But go ahead.
I'm gonna pause you.
No, could he just explain
Because I never said cognitive
mental
ability.
state? Like, what? So you think
I'm
there was-
trying
I think
to.
you're
I'm
getting hung up-
trying
I
to.
think you're getting hung up on this. He kind of said it in
Oh my
passing. It
God.
wasn't a. That's not a big part of this.
I want to hear what he has to say.
It's not a big part of this. My point was, if you have like a serial killer type guy, right? Personally, and maybe whatever, let him vote if you feel that way. I think that they have some clear issues, right? That are like acknowledgeable. Like whatever he votes for
He's
is
killing a
probably
lot of
not
people.
good.
I have
You
a
know what I mean? Like
question
regardless,
here.
even if he's voting for the guy
Aren't
you
most-
like,
Aren't most serial killers borderline genius though?
but that doesn't matter how smart they are. They have a deficiency.
all right,
like they
Wait,
have.
wait.
I'm not
Hold
doing
on,
this.
hold on,
Pause,
hold on,
pause.
hold on. I'm gonna pull back.
Wait, pause. Let me ask this question. What does it
You
matter?
say anything about crazy people? I
No,
swear.
what does it matter if they vote or not? Like, it doesn't really change anything.
They're citizens. It doesn't matter.
just
they should
saying.
have
There's
the
a
right.
lot of prisoners, dude.
But what are they
There's a lot of prisoners. It would definitely change.
Even if it
That-
was 10, they
and
should be
they're
able to
all in
vote.
one location.
Okay, but whoever they vote for isn't going to do anything for them. Like,
that
doesn't matter. I mean, but that's-
but I'm saying, what are they voting
so
for? Like,
that
what do I
think-
care?
They should-
that I
just
think is
should
a
be
huge
allowed
part
to
of
They
the
vote.
should.
whole
I mean, listen. They
conversation.
should. I think
They
they
are
should be
just
allowed to
citizens.
vote. I mean, especially you're
But
talking
it's not
about
going to change
again.
anything.
If,
It
we,
doesn't
if we
matter.
think about the
I'll
levels of crime,
explain
and I think
why.
that's where you were going, right? Honestly, depending on the level of crime, right? Depending on
So that's what I was
the
going to
type
say
of
that as
crime
well.
that was committed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll reel back in because I know you guys like to make fun of me, but I'm the only one that keeps this thing rolling along. There's not even going to be a clip for Johnny in this one right now.
No.
No. But what you're saying is right. On a case by case basis, prisoners, you should understand what their whether or not, or there should be
Mental
some
capacity,
analysis as to whether or not they
So,
should be able to vote
let me-
based
Yeah,
on
just
the
like
crime.
level of crime.
Based on I get
you know,
that.
whether it was like if it's like a heinous crime and you're like, no, you got to do like real rehabilitation first before you're. I mean, because
Yeah.
obviously going to prison, they're already restricting rights. You know what I mean? Like
No,
the
no, I
whole,
get
you're losing your freedom.
It should just be
So
part
it's-
of the analysis.
it should be
right?
part of it.
Yeah.
You know,
In the
part,
same way
part of the
that-
sentence should be
Right.
Should you
based
be in
on-
prison?
based
Part
on
of it
this,
is yeah.
you should not. You
Right.
will lose your right to vote
Right.
based on this.
Right.
That's fair.
right.
I don't have a problem.
Even if it's punitive, I don't have any issues with it being a punitive measure of like this was a heinous crime. You are losing your right to vote
Yep.
because we're stripping you of that a bit like
Right.
on intentionally.
Right.
I'm
Yes.
fine. Like I'm fine with that if you look at it from that perspective. I think it's just used as you go to prison, you lose your rights. I mean, you lose free. Like there's a ton,
Right.
and that's just one of them. And I think that one doesn't necessarily make sense for me as like it's a clear cut. Yeah, lose it because. I can imagine committing a crime, but you're still a part of the world. You still live in the country. You're still a citizen, you know. And you do have not, I guess needs is the word, but like voting, you are a voting base, however small. Everybody should be looked at. I don't think it's not. There's not enough probably to move like criminals. I mean, there's a ton, but like in prison, prisoners, not criminals. Let's say prisoners, to move the needle that much for any particular, you know. But they're citizens and they should be allowed to vote. Assuming that
Well,
like I said, if there's a crazy heinous crime, no, I mean you could take it away from people. I'm not arguing that everybody should across the board. I think a lot of people are not allowed to vote who should as citizens of the United States. Personally.
But I want to respond to that actually, Johnny, because that's a big part of this conversation. The reason why it seems as if no candidate they would vote for would do anything for them is because their vote hasn't mattered yet. So if you say everybody
candidates would
who
be-
ever went to prison and anybody in prison right now, save for a few, I guess, if you want to, can vote. There's going to be a candidate who's going to apply to those people. And those people, there's a lot of people currently in prison, and there's been a lot more that are out of prison who would get their right to vote back in this hypothetical.
I think
So-
Bernie was a
And
big
so
one.
There
Hold
would
on,
be a
go.
candidate who would use that power that they have to
I mean, it's a voting block.
So saying that, now I don't want them to have the right.
Why? Because they
because
vote
you
as a
don't want
block.
a pro-criminal
No, because
president.
because it's just going to use it for more leverage. Everything that someone runs on is bullshit and lies. All of it. It's all
So that-
bullshit.
but it-
Money.
so
They
then
don't
why does
support.
it-
They don't care about
so then
anybody.
why
They're
does
all
it
doing it.
specifically annoy you in this scenario versus in the general? You were admitting that you think that every candidate, no matter what, is doing it for some selfish. They're
Of
lying.
course, 100%.
So then why specifically when they lie about criminals does it bother you?
I feel no, because then they're going to put initiatives in to get all those votes, and it's going
No.
to benefit.
Well, because the initiatives are going to
But
be.
then they benefit them.
If you get me in office, I'm going to be able to get you out of prison.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
what other initiatives?
That's what I'm saying.
right.
That I
Well,
don't
it could be,
like.
I don't
it
think-
could be better living condition. You know, it could be like there's a lot of things you could give. You know, these are
Yeah,
people who are
yeah,
stripped
but what's
of
the
rights.
primary thing
You know
that
what I
somebody
mean?
in prison wants?
Yeah, to get out.
Is to get out.
Well,
Except for
yeah.
Brooks. Brooks wanted to stay in.
Yeah, but but honestly, if a
Shawshank
politician, if
Redemption.
their
But no
whole,
president
if
is
a
gonna
politician,
free-
if their whole platform is I'm letting all the
Well,
prisoners
no.
out, the rest of the people are also going to vote for them.
But it's
Well,
not
no,
their
but
whole.
like, I'm not
it's
talking
not
about
their
letting
whole
'em out.
platform, Mike. Number one.
Right.
Number two, it's not. I'm going to let you out. I'm just going to let you free. No, it's like
Putting all these stupid initiatives in
We'll
that
lessen
we-
sentences.
Right.
You know, yeah.
No cash
okay, so you could
bonds.
talk about the conditions in prison, right? Which I think should be humane, but right at the edge of being inhumane, right? Because you're there being
Wow.
punished, right?
Wow. Well,
So,
actually, I'm glad.
I'm
you bring that
okay
up.
with that.
I'm really glad you bring that up. That was my
That's
big
crazy.
question.
But you
for
are
this
being punished,
episode.
though. I'm
You
not
are,
saying-
it is-
You
yes,
are.
Well,
yes.
so that's my big question for this episode. I agree that you're being punished. I just think practically that's what's happening is you're being punished.
You are.
But I thought of that coming over here because I think that'll be a good just a good point to look at all these from is do you consider prison like punishment or rehabilitation?
It is for some people, but some people can't
I
be
just-
rehabilitated.
but I mean in general, like
I-
as a concept, penitentiary, like putting people in prison. Do you think it should be treated as a punishment or treated as rehabilitation?
Both.
it's both. It's you're punished, and you should be there to rehabilitate, and there should be some help with
The
that.
problem is we don't have anything
But-
to
but-
rehabilitate. We
No,
just throw them
no.
in a box and we leave them all
Not-
together on their own, and they all just hang out
think
together.
And it gets
fair
worse.
And it
if
gets worse.
anything.
They come
I
out
think
worse.
that's a fair
Like
You
if
get
you
worse.
if I went into
I don't think in all
prison,
cases that's true.
well,
I think a lot.
I've never been in prison
yet.
yet, but if I do go to prison, I feel like obviously I have to like team up with someone, right, or I'm gonna get killed, raped, whatever. So then I owe that person. Now I'm like kind of becoming like that person. He's cheap, and I'm doing illegal things and bad things in prison. I came out. I'm probably gonna be worse than I was when I went in.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, it's anecdotal because I wasn't there and I don't have a number of like how many people this happens to, but like there's tons of examples of specifically I know white guys saying they go and their only gang that you can join is the Aryan Brotherhood and they're like you got to get a swastika tattooed.
Right.
It's like that messes up your life.
It does.
But you're like I'm an accountant. I'm in here for whatever. And you're like I didn't want to do this, but there's gangs. Like there's actual gangs all around all the
it
time.
rules it.
The only one that lets me in are the white guys because I'm white. And then you're like stuck.
Yeah,
And you're like,
no,
I don't want to do this.
Right.
And
So-
in every other direction too. I'm sure.
So
Right.
on that,
But I think there's some level of rehabilitation. I'm sure there's plenty of people that got out of prison and went straight after that because
I'm
But I
sure
think a
that
lot
they
of
can.
those
think
are
they
like
did
in
like
spite
the-
of the
do you
in
think
spite
they-
of the
I
system.
was gonna say, do you think they did that because there was something in the prison encouraging them, or that was their
No.
own self starter? They wanted
Like
to,
a lot-
They wanted to
It's
make
probably
themselves-
people that
they
go in
wanted
and
to
out a
better
lot and
I-
got
themselves.
tired of that
I
life.
feel like again, it's completely anecdotal. I don't even know where I would get stats for this. I'm sure they exist in some
Did you say
capacity.
stats?
You want to use that?
I can say it. It's not the boogeyman. I mean, I don't even know if this would be findable because I don't know how many like post-prison stats they keep of like
Yeah.
people on the way out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of like the truly rehabilitated, reformed prisoners, I think a lot of them find religion. And so it's not because of the
It's because
and
of the
maybe if you
religion.
say that the prison has chaplains come in and whatever, and then they find it, so you are crediting like the prison system. But I think it's really the people found faith in a rough environment, and that led them to rehabilitation.
but it's the person, right? I mean,
Well,
some
right,
people.
that's what he's saying.
No,
But
that's
he's
what I
saying-
said. I don't know why this is the Everybody Against the Mike show today, but
Other
the
mic.
other Mike show. The
Well, again, I'm not,
I think some people can be rehabilitated and some people can't.
but that
Absolutely.
wasn't really the basis of my question. I was asking specifically, do you think right
We need
now
snacks.
the way prison is right now, do you think it leans more towards punishment or rehabilitation? Not that you think. Like
I think it. I think
I
it
would think
depends
most
on
people-
the prison. I think it depends on there's
I
a
would-
lot of factors that go into that. You
I
can't
would say
really.
I don't think
most
You
that.
can't
people,
answer that
I
in a
would say
blanket.
most people would say the line.
I think you
would
can.
say a line similar to yours for their belief. They would say,
Yeah.
"I want rehabilitation programs." I think there are some people that can't be rehabilitated, and so they have to be kept away forever, and therefore it's a punishment. But
But how could you say that if some people do come out of prison, right? And again, we don't know the numbers on it, but some people come out of prison better.
But I asked
So-
what the prison
so-
did to help that. Like that's what I'm.
There
that's
are
my
initiatives in
question.
prison. I just don't think there's enough. I don't think they're enforced. I don't think they're pushed.
So
I
that-
think
that's
it's
my question.
I
is,
think it's
do
more
you
of that.
think, Do you think
No.
what they are doing right now is positive enough for rehabilitation? If you
I
think
can't.
that,
I can't
like,
answer
if
that
you think
question.
that prison is
I don't
for
know.
think you
I don't
can.
think it's designed like a camp.
think you can.
Like you wake up in the morning, you get your breakfast, then you go to this like conversation about how to be a better human, then you go to this and that lunch. That it's not. I don't. It's not that. It's you go to breakfast, you go play in the yard, you hang out, you do your thing, you go to like. I don't think you
I
are
think-
forced to do anything.
in my opinion,
I know, but we know
From
we know
what I
cops and
know-
corrections. Let's get them on.
from what I know, and
Wrong side.
I've never been to prison either, for the record. But from what I know, it seems
You're definitely gonna end up in
it's
prison.
almost like going to a bad high school, being in prison. If you want to do well, and if you want to sit down and go to the library and read all the
Right,
books,
you
and
would do
learn,
it.
You could do that for sure. No matter how
Right.
bad your teachers are, no matter how awful your graduation rate is, you can do that. But the school is not going
They're
to
not gonna help
put
you.
up signs and say, "Come to the library," or they're not going to host study groups or
That's a great
or
analogy.
tutoring or anything like
Yeah.
that. That's how
Yeah.
I. Feel.
I didn't know where you were going with it.
Yeah.
I was like, people might get mad about that.
Yeah.
No, no,
I was like,
I'm
oh, that's
saying-
reasonable.
I think prison is like a bad high school where if you want to do well, there are opportunities for you, but you have to go look for them yourself. You have to already be willing to change.
Yeah.
And I think that it's
Matt's saying-
unfair.
I believe because you're looking
I'm not
confused over
disagreeing.
there.
No, I don't know. Again, I don't know why this is like.
because
This
you
is an
keep doing-
attack on other Mike today. I don't
It's not an
understand.
attack. I'm not even
Should-
attack. I'm responding to him. I'm not even.
I didn't
You want to
even-
go get breakfast? Let these two just
Just let them talk it out.
just to get it out.
All I'm saying, I don't think we can make the blanket assertion that it's more. It should be about punishment. I said that right off the top,
Okay, there we
Yeah.
go.
right?
Okay.
But I think
Okay.
there are prisons that have programs that do rehabilitate people, and I think that there's outside agencies that help rehabilitate people in prison. Haley was going to school for that.
Mhm.
Haley used to go to prisons and talk to people.
Wow.
For the purpose of rehabilitating. So there are programs that do it. So I don't think we can make the blanket statement, and if it is more punishment, it's designed to be punishment, right?
Well, that was
Well, that's
the
the-
heart
that's
of my
the
question.
question.
Isn't
That was
that,
the root of
isn't
my
that the
question.
deterrence?
He's saying
Do you-
should it
do
be
you
punishment
think-
or
do you
rehabilitation? Should it
think
be
it should-
geared
And I said it should be
towards-
both.
Both.
Right,
I said it should be
okay.
both.
Right, but how do you gear it towards such extreme? Like one of them is supposed to be progressive, and you're supposed
Like,
to
those
be
are
helping
opposite
people, and
things.
the other
It's
thing
hard
is
to
you're
do.
keeping them where they are. That's what punishment is you just trap somebody where they are as they are, and you don't worry about whether they come out.
But
different
Matt,
or
I'm not talking about like a gulag where people are chained to the wall.
I'm not.
Punishment is being in that place,
Okay.
right? And having that structured, as Johnny said, get up in the morning. That punishment enough, right? You don't have certain freedoms.
Think about like when you.
The two things
I
can exist
understand
at
the
once,
concept of
right?
punishment.
That the
I don't think you've ever
rehabilitation
been punished.
that the rehabilitation can be part
understand
of
the-
that.
the
I don't
concept of-
understand.
Well, there's
why.
there's a
punishment.
general idea that like prison being institutionalized itself makes rehabilitation harder. Like I understand that you can be punished and rehabilitated at the same time. Like those two things are not
Mutually exclusive.
mutually exclusive. They're not completely opposed. But the idea is like the way our prison system works is people get institutionalized, and that makes it harder to be rehabilitated. Because even if you're a good prison, like you do everything right, but you get you get used to the routine and all this.
Right.
When you get out,
You can't break
you
out of it.
can't like live a normal life. It's like
Like
it's
Brooks. It's Brooks.
Who is this Brooks?
like
you
oh
keep
Brooks
saying?
is
Shawshank
Shawshank
Redemption.
Redemption, the old guy,
Oh,
the old guy. Yeah. Well, I mean, this is the same idea happens with military members, just not prison. When they
Yeah.
go to they come back and they can't
They can't adjust.
adjust
to normal
to,
life.
to civilian life again.
that's
Some of
also-
them,
so-
obviously it's like a broad term, but
you guys think that, and that's fine. That rehabilitation should be a bigger part of
I think
of,
so.
Of prison. That's fine.
I think it
don't
should be.
disagree.
I think it should be the end goal of prison.
I don't
yeah.
disagree.
Like
Like
the
I
whole
understand the
point of-
punitive measure, but like unless it's okay, if it's all lifers, right? It's all people who are like murdering people, whatever. Then fine, make it completely punitive. Who
Who are
cares? They're
generally-
in prison forever.
We're
for
generally in
everybody
different kinds
else-
of prisons, for the record.
Yeah,
like if you
right,
have a
there's,
life
like, max
sentence, you're in a
federal
different
and stuff.
security prison.
For
Like,
sure. But I think it seems like there's so many people in prison that they just all get at the end of the day clumped in together in droves, you know?
Right.
Like largely. Like the murderer is not gonna be with a shoplifter, but
Yeah.
murder might be with like grand larceny, but those are very different crimes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or like actual gang members will be with people who are thrown in for nothing and they're like, this person lives a life of crime. I committed a crime.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there's a very different thing there and I think the lifelong criminals in prison, they have an easier way about it than the other person has to now get acclimated to. And that's part of the problem. Is you get put into this life that doesn't. It's not super. You know, I don't think it's like again. I've never been to prison. We're talking about this all of us from a very outside perspective, but like they don't have. I don't think they're kept like such a close eye on that anybody's protected in the prison. You know what I mean? Particularly.
Mhm.
So you're left to your own devices. You got to fend for yourself in a very dangerous environment. So you're gonna make decisions that you wouldn't want to make
Exactly.
or generally make any. You know, and I think if prisons were more geared towards rehabilitation in general, that would stop a lot of the downstream stuff of prison. You know, because it wouldn't be like, yeah, well, you're just in jail now for 5 years. Good luck. You know, it'd be like, well, we have a meeting on Wednesday, like whatever, this and that. It would help. You know, it's already structured the way you're living.
Right.
But as far as like a path forward, I think would help everybody and would lessen the worst parts about prison being that you can go for one crime, get sort of institutionalized or join a gang, whatever it is, and then be stuck in this repeating cycle of
No.
prison, which I think is what they want, like the whole prison industrial complex, right? Isn't that it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
including the.
Well, yeah,
I mean, did you see-
people make
And I
money.
think it-
Anytime people are making money off of things, there's going to be problems.
Yeah, I mean,
with it.
did you see? This is a specific case, so it's anecdotal, but I mean, I believe it's real. Just happened. Some guy, some prisoner in I can't remember his name, California, I believe, like donated his like whole prison savings to the Palestine conflict or to Gaza. But I think it was 146 hours he worked, and he made like $17. Like his hourly rate was 17 cents, right? And I'm like, I can't. I'm for prison. I'm not like let everybody out or anything like that, but that's crazy. Like working for 17 cents. I don't know how you could explain that other than like they're clearly using this as like unpaid
It's
labor.
like a loophole
they have
in
to
the
give them.
Constitution.
They have to give them something.
It's like
to
a
get
loophole
back
in
on
the
topic,
Constitution.
right? Because we started with what? What was
Anything
the
like that?
what the? No.
Criminal
It's
justice
going to be the
reform.
same thing.
Okay.
I'll bring up the same point.
Criminal justice reform.
Criminal justice
Yeah.
reform. So you believe keeping certain people out of prison is better than putting them in the first place, right? Because
I never said that, but sure.
but
He
you're
didn't
saying
say
putting
that.
them
I
in.
never said. I
He
never
didn't
said that.
say
I
No,
don't.
no. Isn't this all conceptual? Putting them in prison.
Yeah, conceptually I said that.
But
I
I'm
don't-
saying-
theoretically I said that.
Theoretically, you said because putting them in prison, you know, there is a
feel
potential
drunk.
that it's going to make
I
them.
wish.
It's going to make them worse instead of better. Isn't
Right.
that what you're contending?
Yes,
Yeah,
that
okay,
part.
Right.
Yeah.
So then,
No, I don't think it's better to keep
So
them out
that's-
though. Committing a crime,
No, it's better
You
to
can still
change
go. It's
prison.
better
is
to-
what he's saying.
it's better
we
to
should
make-
change prison.
make prison a bit of a not like better place, not like flowery and it's
no,
fun,
no,
but more rehabilitative.
But what would that mean? More rehabilitative. But if you put them in, so if you mix criminals, like you said,
like lifelong, like real.
not even lifelong, just a one-time murderer, right? Heat of the moment murderer,
Okay,
right?
Okay,
Crime
yes,
of
yes,
passion.
not a
yes,
Yeah.
not like a serial killer,
right,
Right.
versus
Not
a
Pete
Murray.
guy that maybe stole a car
Yes.
just to go joyriding
Yep.
one night.
Yep.
In theory, should they not be together?
I think they could be.
They could be
It's not.
together.
It's not like a who gets separated by who.
No,
I
no,
just
but-
mean there are levels of like crime in all these places.
Right.
And I think prison, as much as I understand it, like creates more criminals, because who rules the prison if not the lifelong criminals, like the gangs?
Yeah.
So then
The
everybody
guys that
else
know they're not getting
so then
out
all-
have to make a better life for
right.
themselves.
So they like
Right.
take
So they have
control
to
and like
take
live
control.
a life in their whole life is there. So they own things and have power
So
in this
on-
environment,
on
and
the
then everybody else has to fall in line. But these people they just want to serve their time. They're like, I got 5 years. I don't want to, I don't want to shank anybody.
No. But listen. I'm not arguing with you guys. I don't know why you guys think I'm
I'm
arguing.
not.
with
I'm
you.
talking.
I'm just bringing up the topic so we could talk about
Yeah,
it.
I was saying.
You guys get angry.
I'm saying I'm not
like-
trying to separate
That's
like
the whole point.
everybody. That's what he wanted
That's the whole point.
from this
I
beginning
know,
thing,
that's The
right?
whole point is to get angry.
Why are they yelling at me today?
Oh my god, I'm gonna freak out.
I'm just
Well,
trying
anyway,
to understand the
look.
correlation to things.
This is going to be an easy edit.
So there
for you.
is
There's only
a
two people
move
talking.
to keep people out of prison, right? Like in a sense, right? Because
Yeah.
it's a low level crime or whatever.
Yeah.
And the argument is because once you're in prison, you do become hardened.
Mhm.
That's the I guess that's the argument then for that, right?
Yes.
For being softer on certain crimes, right? And it makes sense. I'm agreeing with you guys.
Okay.
Well,
I'm agreeing. I just like to know all the
well,
facts. I
thus
just-
far, thus far, there hasn't been a single thing about criminal justice reform that anyone has been angry about. So I just want to clarify, like, are you angry about this topic at all?
This
Because
was
you've
not-
agreed
this-
with everything we've said.
This-
Everything we said was criminal justice reform, and you agreed with every bit
No,
of
no,
it.
no, no.
Is there anything that angers you about this at all?
First of all, this wasn't my topic to be angry about. It wasn't mine. I don't
Oh,
know whose
John-
it
yeah,
was.
It
Johnny-
wasn't mine.
yeah, you
and-
sent
No,
the
it's
article.
probably
though.
mine.
Oh.
It was
And
mine.
I mean,
Well,
I
I
don't.
don't have it. You've been
I
defending
can't.
it. If
I
not,
can't
I'm
say
talking.
what makes me angry,
The o-
but I think what would make me angry about it would be if repeat offenders are not being punished appropriately. Like if they're allowed to continue to come out and commit crimes and that cycles through. That would make me angry.
Mm-hmm.
So what would make you angry about it?
I'm not. I mean, I don't give a shit about any of it, really. I do. I'm getting more angry with the new things coming in. Like I said earlier, the California thing in San Francisco.
We didn't say that yet.
I'm bringing that up
I
now.
know,
That's
that's
the only
what
thing
I'm
that
saying.
makes me angry. That's what makes me
Well,
angry.
are
What
you
is
gonna
it? Tell me
explain
what
it?
it is.
or-
It's on my phone. I don't want to read it because my phone's over there.
Vagary.
So you can pull it up. Just look up. San Francisco gives money to shooters. I think they're giving $300 a month
Oh, to not shoot people.
to not
right?
shoot people. And there's a lot of you
Yeah, I
know-
think
think cash incentives are always bad.
What did
Right.
you say? to
So
look
stupid.
up?
what?
What did you say to look up?
San Francisco gives money to shooters, and they'll pull it up. But I think there's a lot of criteria you have to pass. Like you have to
Yeah.
be willing to be. You want to be a better place. You got to do. But it's still friggin' stupid.
San Francisco.
I think cash
Hold
incentives
on,
just
hold on.
are a bad.
really-
Yeah,
It's just a terrible idea. Like I'm gonna pay you money to not be a bad person.
that's what I'm saying. Like
is
I
like,
want
on
my
its
money.
face crazy.
Yeah, because I'll start doing bad things for
Yeah,
cash.
that
That'll be
makes
my
no-
job.
Yeah,
That'll be my new job.
I
Be a
think
good person
anytime-
for free.
I think that's like a terrible. It's a bad precedent. Like, what does that
That-
mean? Like,
Right.
the government has to pay people to not commit crimes.
That-
is insane.
That's what I'm angry
It's
about
insane.
because I'm a good, more. I think I'm pretty good.
You
but
don't
I'm-
commit crimes.
I'm not, and I'm not getting nothing. Like, give
Yeah.
me
No,
money.
I think that's crazy. I think they're taking extremes because
Yeah.
of all this. Probably because a lot of the real issues are harder to solve because they're so tied up into like the political system.
Right.
Like the real like prison industrial complex. I mean, the one I just said about this guy, 150 hours, let's say, for like $17, like 17 cents an hour.
Yeah, he should get.
that labor is free,
you should
functionally free, whatever they're making throughout the country.
get. Right.
So those lobbies are not gonna want anybody getting out of prison.
Right.
I mean, the amount of money
So-
they must save would be incredible.
They should give a minimum. They should give a minimum wage.
Yeah,
Now,
if they're
which
gonna
when they
work
get out,
or
they
don't have to
deserve
work,
money.
yeah,
Which
I
article
They
do
deserve
you
the
have
money.
on that?
NBC, but I'm looking into what actually because it seems like it's,
Is it this one?
yeah.
Yeah. So
It seems
I mean,
like it's not. Hold on, I wanted. That's why I didn't bring it up yet because it seems like I'm trying to see where they get the money from because it doesn't look like it's coming from the state. It looks like it's
So it's
a-
federal.
no, it looks like it's a project, like it's
privately
called
funded.
Yeah, it's called Dreamkeeper San
Oh, that won't work.
Francisco.
If it's privately funded, there's no way that
Seems
works.
like it wasn't. I know, but
Uh,
I
so-
think I have a feeling what
Well,
happened
unless
is
it's like
it's a
Soros.
It's private,
So
but
regardless
they
of
got
where
a
to,
grant from the city is what it seems like.
Oh,
I'm
so it
try-
is-
that's what
that's
I'm
still
trying to
taxes,
figure-
though, a
well, I'm
grant
tr-
from the
well, That's what I'm
city.
saying. I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure it out.
Alright,
That's
but
why
wait,
I didn't want to
re-
bring this up. He brought it up. I didn't want to bring it up. I was
regardless
keeping
of where the
quiet for a
money comes
reason.
from,
It's a bad idea.
there's a pilot program with 10 people
Right.
Yeah.
who want to change their lives. So they want to rehabilitate.
So they were
basically.
vetted. They were
Yeah,
vetted.
right.
These
They were
people.
vetted. They were interviewed,
Yeah.
and their commitment is to not commit a gun crime.
Mhm.
And if they don't commit a gun crime, in theory, I don't think this is done yet, but
It
No,
doesn't,
doesn't
seem
look like
it.
it.
It's
doesn't
not
look
done
like
yet.
anything.
But they get
they're saying.
$300 a month to not commit a gun crime.
So it says they took 10 people.
Yep.
They have to pass an interview. They
Yep.
become what they call community ambassadors, right? What happens is you get a life coach, kind of like a one-on-one person to monitor you,
Mhm.
and they give you gift cards. It's not like every month you don't commit a crime, here's $300. It's like you're a part of this program trying to get your life back on track. You have like a sponsor in some way, and you are covered to some extent financially. I mean, it's San Francisco, you're getting $300
Wait.
a month.
So
in
it's the
gift
same
cards.
thing. Still,
So
you're getting a
you're
gift
not
card.
really
What's the
getting
difference?
anything.
You can buy anything on a gift card. It's a Visa.
I don't think it's a Visa. I think it's like Amazon.
It's not-
Well, if it's not
but I'm
tied to like
saying
specific crime,
it's not tied to crime. It's not.
I
Like,
don't hate it as
No,
much.
unless you commit a crime. It's literally just a group of people who
Right.
have a life coach and have some financial support. That's it.
It
That's
has
all.
nothing to do with guns.
They are. I guess they are.
They must have
No,
been
it's about
offenders.
it's
offenders
shooters.
at
I
some
guess
point.
they are offenders, but
I think
they're
it's
not,
shooter people.
They must be, yeah, but they're not paying them not to commit gun crimes. Like
They're-
it's not like the second you commit a, you know, what I mean? It's not like they're not paying
They're
them. not
paying them to
commit
become
crime.
community
They're
ambassadors.
paying them to become
these are
community
people-
That's a
ambassadors.
fancy
And this
way
is
around
a
it.
form of rehabilitation.
they're-
then.
the
They're getting a
point of-
life coach.
The point of these 10 people
And
is to
the,
be
and
a
the ca-
success
I don't know,
story
what the cash incentive
for
is. It's a
their-
cash
No.
incentive, no
It
matter
is,
how you describe
definitely,
it.
it's a cash
See, I
incentive.
think
So
that
if you disagree with the cash incentive, that's one thing, but it's a form of rehabilitation.
I still
And
disagree.
I don't know what the money does for them.
I still disagree with
Maybe just
cash
get them to
I
incentives.
come
don't
back.
like it.
Yeah, I still disagree with cash incentives in general. I don't like it's like a weird precedent to me for the government to be doing.
Mhm.
But like that, if it's not tied to a specific, the headline right reads like it's taking people who have multiple, like
They
they,
must
have a
have-
bunch of gun crimes.
They must have been offenders at some point.
Sure,
No,
right?
they were,
definitely
yeah.
offenders. But I mean, like, it's very different saying, "Hey, don't shoot anybody. We'll give you $300 a month," versus, "I'm trying to turn
going
my
through a
life
whole
around.
program, yeah.
It's hard to find. I've a criminal. I'm an ex-con. I have all that on my record. All this stuff. It's like hard to get a job and hold the steady employment, whatever." And the government goes, "Okay, you're trying to turn your life around with a life coach and monthly meetings, weekly, whatever it is. We'll give you a stipend to help you to get back on your feet." I don't hate that idea. I still think it's bad, and it
I don't like that
lends
either.
itself towards. Right. I'm saying it's not as bad though as I'm gonna pay you to not shoot
Not do
people. Like
something.
that's like extortion
Right.
versus actually saying, okay, we get it. You just got out of jail,
it's-
and you are trying to turn your life around.
It's a
and
program
you
for
need to pay rent.
rehabilitation, and it has a cash incentive in it
Yeah.
because maybe these people don't have the ability to earn like other people do because they are repeat offenders.
See, like what I would
I will say
change,
San Francisco does give out a lot of money though.
Yeah.
They give homeless
No,
people
for
money
sure.
on a monthly basis,
which I don't,
and stuff
which
like
I don't
that.
like. Like I think
And it
for this
causes-
one,
it draws people in. But
yeah, for this particularly, I would say I think just a better way to do it with the same amount of money is to have a $300 if you could just pay it directly, like a rent reduction, $300 or whatever, like something that is so because if you give somebody $300,
I
they
agree
can
with
spend it
that.
on whatever they want,
Right.
and it's a bad incentive. If it's just lowering rent, like yeah, you're still getting the $300, but it I don't think it makes it as easy to take advantage of it for other ex-cons who are like, I just want an extra. I'm gonna be committing crimes anyway. If they catch me, I'm going back to prison. So I'll just get the $300
Right.
anyway
Right.
until they catch me. You know, like
Yeah.
that is what I think you want to definitely stop. So if it's like, I'll do it. I'm still gonna commit crimes. I gotta go to these meetings and all this just for a $300 rent reduction. Like, all right, like
Yeah, yeah.
then good for that criminal for taking advantage of it, I guess. You know what I mean? But I think it changes the dynamic of it, as opposed to giving them a gift card.
yeah, no,
Like-
That
I
is
like-
on
like food
that you
stamp
can't
money.
keep track of. Right, you
giving
can't keep
out
track of. It's
free
just
cash.
cash.
They do
Giving
no,
out
they do
free cash is
They do
always
track.
bad.
It is
Right.
tracked for the.
I'm sure, but I
wanna
just
put
mean,
that
but
out. It is
but
also tracked.
it's
But no, I
tracked. But
agree.
there's a
It's-
million
I
ways to
agree
get
with
it.
you.
You
I
can
think
go.
the best
I can
way-
go to the store, say, oh yeah, well I have to buy this. I'm gonna give you these. Can you give me the cash
Yeah.
value?
EBT.
Like there's a million ways.
I
There's a
would-
million ways to
EBT,
get around
every
that.
minute
That
of the
means
day.
yeah, that means like nothing.
I would. I agree with you. I think
I'm
that-
sure there's money going out much worse than $300 a
Yeah.
month for people who want to move on, who have life coaches who want to. It seems like become life coaches.
Well,
That's
the
what it
idea.
seems like.
you know.
It
So
seems like
I
they're
have
really
no problem
trying
with
to
that.
like.
I mean, that sounds like a good program.
They're trying to get them together for the community's sake.
Right.
So they get these 10 people and they become like community ambassadors, and so they reach out and
Right.
and so it seems like they're kind of guiding them on that path.
It's
to
like
become,
I mean, they're getting paid to become something.
Right.
That's what. That's the
yeah,
way
that's
I'm
what I.
in
looking
that
That's
at
the
it.
way
regard.
I read.
So I
it.
don't
That's
think
If you look at it
that's-
like that, like an
the way I read
apprenticeship.
it.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
don't
it
think
seemed
that's
like.
the worst thing in the world. They're not getting $300 and then just sitting on their asses and doing nothing. It
No, they
seems
have
like
a partner. It's
there-
like
there's a program for
Yeah.
them, and I think that's perfectly fine. It's like well. So what's the overall?
Feeling.
Yeah, John,
the
you haven't said
closing-
anything. It was
what's
your
the-
topic. You
what's
were
the-
It
mad
was. It
about
was his.
Yeah,
What's the
it was my
closing?
topic.
What's the
I think it was my
closing?
topic.
His
Whatever.
topic.
You were talking about
Comments
how
on
angry
this.
you were about it.
I guess for me,
I
the
listened.
closing comment, and we'll go around the room. But I guess these policies can be good, but I don't think they're as well thought out as they could be. And I think you can't blanketly try and cover things. Unfortunately, in one fell swoop, it never works. It's never fair. So no matter how much they say this is an equalizer, I don't think it is unless they do them in a much more thought out way, and it has to be really, I don't know, more granular than what it is.
Yeah.
Johnny.
I'm a little lost on this one. I gotta be honest.
he's just mad that the government's giving people money.
I am very mad at that.
I
I
like that. It's
but
my money.
I don't exactly the
Or
thing,
our.
and that's exactly it. There's so many things in everything, not just this, where my tax money is going to, and my money just goes up, and I'm a hardworking person who gets no benefit. So all these things just start to piss me off more. We'll get into other topics and other shows about it. yeah, I don't know, man. I'm kind of on the fence with this whole prison thing. I think there needs to be a prison. I think there should be initiatives to make them better people. I don't think money should ever be part of it. I'm not a big believer that like prisons should be a little better inside too. They shouldn't be barbaric, but it shouldn't be a hotel either.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Yeah, it's
So-
not Club Med.
Yeah. So there's a lot, but like I feel like if you're gonna do the crime, man,
Do the time.
do the freaking time. That's
I agree
it.
with that.
You know,
Mhm.
that's it. That's why I don't do anything. I don't want to be that,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm not that.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I'm kind of
Fair
all
enough.
over the place.
Fair enough.
To me, I agree with you. I think that, and I think it's especially weird. Most of the time, you can appreciate when a good effort has been put in. I think it's a pretty good effort. And then when it's not thought all the way through, you're like, oh, it had these effects they didn't consider. I think it's weird in prison because you actually can consider each person who goes to prison individually because you give them you give them a trial. They have the sentence is individual. Every person
Mhm.
gets an individual sentence. So it's actually weird to me that they don't take a more individual approach when it comes to criminal justice reform because you can do that. You can analyze each case by case because you do it anyway. They already are separate. It's not the same thing as trying to do something for an entire state or trying to do something for an entire county. It's a case by case basis in which you do look at each person individually.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if you wanted to really be productive, that's the approach they would take. Is they would go like we said, decide at sentencing whether or not they keep their right to vote. Because even you could even say we've been focusing mostly on violent crimes or
Non-violent felonies
non-violent felony, but
or whatever.
even like
Any of them.
capital crimes like insider trading,
Mhm.
like you probably wouldn't want somebody like that to vote, right? Because if they're insider trading, who knows what else they're doing in politics? The two have been linked closely in the past. So I feel like that's the kind of thing that you decide based on the crime, and I think it's just weird that they haven't taken that approach.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm pretty much agreeing with Matt and other Mike and just reiterating, so I'll be relatively brief. But yeah, I think that the policies I understand and I appreciate and like and agree with, I guess, the idea of we're approaching this from an empathetic viewpoint and like there are too many prisoners in the US and all this, like all these things, And I agree with that sentiment. But I think the way it's done is just is they do these blanket movements, and I think a lot of times it's politically motivated at the heart of it. I think they're using empathy as the jumping off point, but the senator who's voting for it is not doing it empathetically.
Right.
They want votes. I think it's an empathetic approach. Like they're using the policy as a voting tool for our empathy, not theirs.
Right.
But. I mean, that's it. I just think I think they could do a better job. Like Matt said, it should be and could be much more individualistic the way they look at it. At anything. I mean, from voting right. Like should this person be able to vote? They really just did this whatever crime. It's not that bad. They I don't see any need to strip them of every right they have. Like they're already losing their freedom and whatnot. They're doing the time. They seem otherwise an upstanding citizen. Yada yada. But I mean, I think it's something that needs to be. And it's going to be talked about going forward in the country. I hope they do a better job. I hope there's somebody who can really like actually make real progress and not this sort of just facade of goodwill.
And that's what it is.
That ends up just creating more issues down the line for everybody. For the prisons, they're going to have more people because crime, goes up, and then everybody else in the country has to deal with more criminals or just more crime in general. Recidivism, all these things bleed out into every part of our world, or at least our country. So,
All right. Well, it was a good topic, I think. No, it was a good topic. I think we could probably talk about it another hour if we wanted to.
Probably
yeah, next
could've-
time we'll do stats.
Probably could have done a little bit more statistics.
I would never do statistics on this show. To be honest, it's not
I'm
my
gonna
thing.
flip this table.
It's not. Statistics are not really. They're not reliable. So I would never do statistics.
That's
I
good.
just think we
That's
should
good.
just talk openly about how we feel. That's what's most important.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks for listening, everybody. And as
Yeah.
always,
stay angry.